Hundreds facing an incurable disease, being sickened or killed by their work.
Trying to take a deep breath, there's just a point where there's no more.
Facing lung transplants or worse.
Tell me about the pain.
I live something very terrible.
Their disease, they say, caused by their job, fabricating countertops for kitchens and baths in small shops all around the country. You may have seen those countertops made of engineered stone, cut by those workers to fit customers' needs. But now, many are getting the deadly disease silicosis, and they're suing. While manufacturers ask the U.S. Congress to end any liability they might have for the worker illness and deaths.
The wrong parties are being sued.
When I was told about this legislation, I was outraged.
What should happen to a product that doctors say has already made hundreds of workers sick?
The easy solution is change the product. Ban the high silica material.
Coming up on Investigate TV Plus Weekend, we'll show you what's at stake and examine what should be done about deadly dust.
Hello, I'm Anna Werner, Senior National Investigative Reporter for Investigate TV. If you head out to shop for a new countertop, say for your kitchen or bathroom remodeling project, most of the glossy surfaces you see on display are likely not natural stone slabs like marble or granite. Instead, many slabs today are made of something called engineered stone. The material has become overwhelmingly popular in the U.S. over the last 15 years or so because it comes in many styles and colors to match virtually any decor. But that popularity has come at a cost, paid by the workers who cut and shape those slabs into custom sizes every day. Many are now dying from an incurable disease, silicosis. They're in kitchens and bathrooms all across the country, countertops cut from what's called engineered stone. Made of crushed quartz mixed with resins and polymers, they're marketed as being better than marble or granite. This is where many engineered stone slabs from manufacturers are cut and shaped, in small local shops like these around the country. But now, many of the workers in those shops are becoming deathly ill. Workers like Tyler Jordan.
Trying to take a deep breath, there's just a point where there's no more.
Who at 31 years old says sometimes he can hardly breathe.
I feel like I should be able to breathe deeper, but I can't. It's tight.
Tyler lives in Missouri now with his wife and 3 kids. But he used to work in his family's stone fabrication shop in Colorado, alongside his dad Jimmy, who runs the shop.
I liked doing that. It interested me. Looked up to my dad.
You kind of thought, my dad, that'll be me someday.
Mm-hmm, yes.
I'll run the shop.
Yes.
That is, until about 3 years ago. In spring of 2022, he started having tightness in his chest, followed by pain. Tyler says doctors first thought it might be cancer, but it was something else.
And then now, looking back, cancer would have been a better outcome.
Cancer would have been better.
Yes.
Because his diagnosis was a life-threatening, incurable disease, silicosis. Doctors told him it came from breathing in silica dust while working in his family's shop. Silica is present in natural stones like marble and granite, but studies show the amount of silica in engineered stone is often far higher, as high as 90%, much of it in tiny, nano-sized particles that can lodge deep in the lungs. Hundreds of stone workers are now being diagnosed with silicosis. State data in California alone shows as of early January, more than 480 had been diagnosed over the past 7 years. 27 of them have already died.
Those are abnormal.
Dr. Jane Fazio of the UCLA School of Medicine sees many of those workers.
The silica particles are extremely toxic to the lungs. This is silicosis.
She showed us how the lungs of a person with silicosis harden, then shrink, and over time stop expanding.
So you're not able to take in the amount of air that you really need to. So they really do become hard. They become essentially stone.
So it's as if their lungs have turned to stone.
Yes.
It sounds like they're slowly suffocating to death.
That's exactly right.
There is no cure. The only treatment for dying workers, she says, is often a risky double lung transplant. California state data shows more than 50 California workers have required transplants just in the past few years. And nationwide, a 2023 study done by Dr. Fazio and others found an estimated 100,000 stone fabricators in the U.S. are at potential risk for silicosis. But she says there's a simple solution: ban engineered stone.
The easy solution is the change the product, ban the high silica material.
But up in Minnesota, the country's largest domestic engineered stone slab manufacturer, Cambria, says she's wrong.
The ban will not solve the problem. It's not a product issue, it's a process issue.
Cambria's former president, now executive vice president, Micah Aberson, says their product isn't to blame, that the responsibility for sick workers lies instead with the fabrication shops.
Creating a safe work environment is a choice.
Aberson toured us through both Cambria's massive manufacturing facility and its fabrication shop, where he says the company has prioritized safety for 25 years, including wet cutting, using water during fabrication to keep down dust.
And in those 25 years, we haven't had a single reported case of silicosis, which suggests to me and to all of your viewers that you can absolutely cut this product safely, and we are cutting it safely.
Aberson says the shops that work on Cambria's products should be following safety regulations to protect their workers too, with tighter government enforcement.
If they can't do it safely, then they need to be shut down.
But the country of Australia doesn't agree it can be fabricated safely. In 2024, Australia banned the use of engineered stone, saying there is no scientific evidence for a safe threshold of silica in the product, and it poses an unacceptable risk to workers. And in December, some 600 occupational health doctors wrote California authorities urging a statewide ban, saying engineered stone is too toxic to fabricate and install safely, and education and enforcement alone won't curtail the escalating health emergency caused by engineered stone. The doctors pointed out there have been numerous studies, more than 100 scientific articles detailing the worldwide epidemic of silicosis caused by engineered stone. Is it worth that risk?
The risk exists no matter what stone product one is cutting.
But that's not what the scientists say. Have you read their studies?
I have not read all of the studies, no.
So how can you dispute them if you have not read them?
I'm only suggesting that the mandate to process stone safely goes beyond engineered stone alone.
Tyler Jordan sued Cambria and other stone and tool manufacturers. In court filings, Cambria acknowledged Tyler's silicosis but denied responsibility, saying that it provided adequate warnings about its products. Cambria instead blamed Tyler's parents, saying they failed to provide a safe workplace for their son, Jimmy and Tina Jordan.
That's not true.
If that's not true, then why do you think they would say this?
Push blame. They don't want the blame, so they're going to put blame on us. That we had a bad shop, that we had a dusty shop, that we were putting our employees in bad positions, but that's not true.
And putting your own
Putting
child.
my own child or children at risk, and absolutely not.
Cambria and other manufacturers are now pushing a bill in Congress that would stop all worker lawsuits against manufacturers and sellers of engineered stone products, including Tyler's lawsuit. Is Cambria acting in support of that bill?
We are.
Did Cambria help to write the bill?
There's a broad-based coalition that's pursuing this legislation in Washington.
And Cambria is part of that coalition?
That's correct.
I think it's a little bit ridiculous when a product is this dangerous to not have any repercussions about, putting it out and getting people sick or essentially killing them.
In 2024, Tyler's condition worsened. Doctors told him his exposure to silica had caused his kidneys to fail.
My kidney function was 9%.
In December, he was told he needed a transplant. And who was the donor?
My father.
Your father.
Yes.
He saved you.
Yes.
Does it feel like that?
It does.
You donated a kidney
I did.
to Tyler. Tyler says that you saved him. Do you feel that way?
Kind of, but at the same time, I put him in that position. Unknowingly.
And what is that like to be you and to know that?
It hurts.
He just shouldn't be sick. His whole life plan changed in a moment.
I take 2 of these.
Tyler's lung function is now at 60%. He says he can't work and feels lost.
Because that was my life plan.
Yeah, and now?
I really don't know. I don't really have a plan anymore.
A jury has now weighed in on Tyler Jordan's case. It found his parents partially responsible for his injuries, but the jury said Cambria was also responsible, finding it misrepresented the dangers of its product. The jury ordered the company to pay Tyler and his wife 32% of their damages plus interest, or nearly $8 million. Cambria's attorneys said in a press release that the company plans to appeal and pointed out the jury did not find Cambria negligent in manufacturing its product, nor did it find Cambria's products defective. Nevertheless, Cambria and other manufacturers, most foreign-owned, insist they shouldn't face any legal claims from workers like Tyler Jordan. And they've come up with a way that, if successful, would get them out of any legal liability for worker deaths and illnesses caused by deadly dust. We'll tell you more about their solution next. If you believe you've been harmed by a company's product, you can usually take them to court. That's what some of the workers suffering from deadly dust are doing. They're suing the product manufacturers and others. But manufacturers are trying to get out of those lawsuits, not just by defending themselves in court, but also by shielding themselves from any worker lawsuits, like the one from a worker you're about to meet, Rodolfo Figueroa.
It's the night Rodolfo Figueroa's family thought might never happen.
Breathe.
On November 20th, he made it home from the hospital, where his wife Anna was able to hug him. 2 weeks earlier, his daughter Jennifer had to rush him to the emergency room. His oxygen had dropped so low he couldn't breathe. There, doctors told her her father would need a lung transplant to save his life.
I can't picture our family gatherings without him. I don't think we'd ever be whole again.
Tell me about the pain.
Oh, I lived something very terrible. I mean, very bad.
Figueroa's job was making countertops. 4 decades ago, he began cutting them from natural stones like marble, and then later, a man-made product called engineered or artificial stone. Figueroa is now one of 65 men the state of California says have required lung transplants due to their work with engineered stone. If they had told you that this would happen, would you have kept working with it?
No, I mean, definitely not.
Engineered stone countertops are fabricated in shops all over the country, but California is the only state actually tracking silicosis cases. Its data alone shows the number of workers there with silicosis has now climbed to over 500, nearly all of them Latino men. Already, 29 of them have died. Engineered stone slab manufacturers are now facing hundreds of lawsuits over those illnesses and deaths, including from Figueroa. In court, major manufacturers have denied responsibility, but at the same time, they're trying to end all the lawsuits through the U.S. Congress.
The committee will come to order.
In January, at a little-noticed House subcommittee hearing, manufacturers told legislators they're being unfairly blamed.
The wrong parties are being sued.
They want Congress to pass a bill that would get them out of any legal responsibility for any worker illnesses or deaths.
When I was told about this legislation, I was outraged.
David Michaels, who was Assistant Secretary at OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, for 8 years, testified at that hearing.
Instead of saying, let's figure out how to make sure these workers are safe, they said, take us off the hook, give us a free pass. So they're saying, if we can stop these lawsuits, totally, we'll be able to keep doing what we're doing, which I think would be a terrible thing, of course.
Rebecca Schultz, Chief Legal Officer for U.S.-based engineered stone slab manufacturer Cambria, defended the bill.
The lawsuits are overwhelming good companies throughout our industry.
When we visited her company's massive manufacturing plant and fabrication shop in December, Vice President Micah Aberson told us Cambria keeps its own workers safe by using wet cutting, using water to keep down dust, and limiting silica particles in the air to below the federal limit set by OSHA. He says small fabrication shops cutting their products can do it too.
All you need is wet tooling, wet processing, appropriate ventilation, and air monitoring, and you can run a safe operation.
But many scientists disagree. Coming up, a research scientist who has spent decades in these shops tells us the true scale of this crisis may be far larger than anyone realizes. And you'll see what we discovered when we went to visit some shops ourselves. Manufacturers of engineered stone slabs that go into kitchens and bathrooms nationwide say their product can be fabricated safely. All that has to happen, they say, is for the small shops doing this work around the country to simply follow safety rules. But one scientist who has spent more than 20 years inside these shops says the reality is far more troubling.
Meet Georgia Tech research scientist Dr. Jenny Holroyd, who says when it comes to the hundreds of small countertop fabrication shops around the country,
it's incredibly hard to guarantee that these workers are protected from this exposure.
Holroyd has been working with local fabrication shops in Georgia for more than 20 years, showing them how to keep respirable crystalline silica in the air below OSHA's legal limit, 50 micrograms per cubic meter, averaged over an 8-hour workday. Put it this way, in a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter box of air, the limit is a dust mass so small it's roughly the amount that would cover President Lincoln's forehead on a penny. Anything higher over that workday is considered too much.
I have not seen personally, in my experience, a company consistently keep exposures below the regulatory limits. Sometimes they can get it together for one day, but the work is so variable day to day that they typically can't do it consistently.
In a study published last year, Holroyd and colleagues found even when companies used wet cutting methods with engineered stone products, nearly 50% of workers were still over OSHA's exposure limit.
It's kind of like getting all the planets to align. You have to have everything go right to protect the workers, even with controls. With this higher silica content, it's virtually impossible to control the exposures.
We saw similar problems for ourselves in California. There, the state adopted new rules to protect workers, including requiring wet cutting, along with stepping up inspections. And on this street in 2024, state inspectors temporarily shut down some shops due to violations. Yet when we went back to check in November, even on that street, we saw workers still using unsafe practices. Holroyd, who has testified in cases on behalf of some workers, estimates there could be 20 to 30,000 workers nationwide who will develop silicosis. At the January hearing, the industry said putting all of that on their businesses is wrong.
Our role ends when the slab leaves our warehouse.
Selling stone slabs does not cause silicosis.
They say it's up to small shops themselves, along with the government, to deal with bad actors.
Manufacturers say it's the responsibility of the people who employ those workers in those fabrication shops to keep them safe. Why is that the manufacturer's fault?
That's a misunderstanding of worker safety. It's everybody's responsibility in the entire supply chain to make sure things are safe. If you make a product that's going to be used unsafely, you have a responsibility too.
The numbers are rising everywhere.
California Attorney James Nevin, who represents many of those workers, including Figueroa, believes slab manufacturers should be held responsible.
The whole chain has been created by the slab manufacturers, and part of that process is before it can be installed, it has to be fabricated. It's not like, oh, we didn't know that this was going to happen. We didn't know that our product was going to be fabricated. It's designed to be fabricated.
You're saying they know the process that has to come, and therefore they know the dangers when they put the product into the marketplace.
Exactly.
Back at Rodolfo Figueroa's house north of Los Angeles, he showed us his scars.
How are you feeling now, tonight?
I can say I'm feeling happy because I'm in life. I'm still here.
But his wife Anna knows the lung transplant may only buy her husband a few more years with his family.
I don't see my life without him. If something happened to him, I don't want to live without him.
Figueroa says he knew nothing about the bill being debated in Congress, but when we asked,
what do you think the companies think of the workers, yourself and others?
I don't think they don't think about us. I don't think.
Months after his transplant, Figueroa still struggles. His attorneys tell us he has ongoing pain and a lung infection. He takes a dozen medications each day and has difficulty walking. So how can the cascade of silicosis cases be stopped? Coming up next, why some California officials are moving toward a ban of engineered stone fabrication in their state. Since we first started reporting on this story, more than 560 men in California have been diagnosed with silicosis. Dozens have died. Dozens more have undergone lung transplants just to prolong their lives. Now, two very different actions are taking shape. One happening in California, a move to ban the product entirely, and that bill in Congress designed to shield the manufacturers who make it from any legal liability.
I am calling to order the public meeting.
In May, California's Occupational Safety and Health Standards Board convened a public hearing and heard from worker after worker diagnosed with incurable silicosis.
Forgive me for being emotional right now, but this is very impactful in my life.
It's been so hard for us, for me and my family.
You wouldn't think that something like this would happen to you, doing something that you really like to do.
The board was considering a petition brought by doctors to ban engineered stone in the state. Dr. Jane Fazio, the UCLA physician who has treated many of these workers, made the case for a ban in stark terms.
It is endless human suffering. This is a disease that in 2026 in the United States of America should not exist, period, end of story.
Industry representatives argued a ban was unnecessary, that better enforcement over shops was the answer. But the board's own scientists, in memos to the board, said current regulations, even California's toughened rules, are not working. Nearly 94% of shops were found out of compliance. Cases are doubling every 13 months. Staff found that a ban on engineered stone fabrication may be, quote, the quickest and most cost-effective way to reduce silicosis cases. Board member Derek Irwin had heard enough.
I think we as a board have to recognize that we do not know better than the scientists.
Board member Dr. Nola Kennedy spoke directly to workers.
I think your society owes you an apology. We have failed you.
At the end of the hearing, Irwin made clear where he stood on whether to move forward with a ban.
My stance is grant the WOMA petition and initiate emergency rulemaking to address this matter immediately. Yeah.
The board voted to accept the petition, moving California toward becoming the first U.S. state to ban engineered stone fabrication, following Australia's lead.
The House Judiciary Committee will come to order.
But in D.C., a different kind of effort is underway, as manufacturers continue to push a bill in the U.S. House that would strip workers of their right to sue engineered stone slab manufacturers and sellers entirely. The Republican sponsor of that bill, California Republican Congressman Tom McClintock.
We're now seeing crippling lawsuits that ignore the guilty fabricators and instead sue the manufacturers, because that's where the money is. Liability should be based upon responsibility. Those who cause harm should be held accountable, and those who don't should not.
But Democrats on the committee say no bill should let manufacturers off the hook, that they should face courts and juries just like nearly every other product manufacturer.
They want to ignore the epidemic, not do anything to turn it around, and simply pass an absolute liability shield for manufacturers, mostly foreign, who poison workers here.
Earlier this year, Georgia Democratic Congressman Hank Johnson told us he was stunned the bill even came to the floor.
For a run-of-the-mill commercial enterprise to come to Congress and to seek blanket immunity for all companies in that industry for some harm that their product causes, and then there is no national interest involved in protecting that industry. I've never seen that happen before.
For now, the bill's fate remains in the hands of Congress.
We reached out to the bill's sponsor, Representative McClintock, for comment. His staff pointed us to his comments during the bill's markup. Cambria, which has been one of those lobbying for the legislation, did not provide any further statement to us following that hearing. Meanwhile, scientists working for California's state government have already reached their conclusion that engineered stone is, quote, inherently and uniquely dangerous, and that a ban may be the only way to stop workers from dying. While that debate plays out in Sacramento and in Washington, stone workers are still on the job, still breathing the dust, and still getting sick and dying. I'm Anna Werner. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV Plus Weekend.